Welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Shuffle, your host today, and today I have with me Kurt Reynolds, CEO of ReGadget, as my guest. Today we are talking and finding out more about his business, his journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and of course, he's going to share with us a peek of what it's really like to be a business owner, to operate the business, and to make it thrive. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications for new conversations that drop just like this one. Kurt, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of a background of who you are and tell us about your business.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you letting me be a part of the podcast. Kurt Reynolds. I'm the CEO for ReGadget. We are a computer, ITAD company that also does computer refurbishing. So we work with schools and businesses to take out their old IT equipment and bring them in-house, wipe the hard drives and make sure that all the data is secure. And then we are a little different than everyone else in the way that we also do the refurbishing. So we are trying to, enforce sustainability and to keep these things back into the world by giving them a second life. And there's people all over that could use that technology still at different price points than new that work the same. So we refurbish them and send them back out, all of which mainly stays in the USA. To people that could use them.
So, Kurt, I love this passion. And tell us a little bit more about the digital divide and what you guys are doing within this, because it's just amazing.
Yeah, so we do a lot of work to help with the digital divide. It's a big problem in the USA of people that don't have access to computers or Wi-Fi and things like that have become vital for people to to use for job applications, for kids, for school, and everything else you would want a computer at home, just learning and doing different things. And there's too much population that doesn't have access to that stuff. So we've kind of taken on the life of trying to help out in that realm. And we have some awesome partners that we've built through the country that, that's what they're focused on. And, it aligns with what we want to do, trying to, take our business and make it the most helpful that we can. So we've, done a lot of work to help get computers in the hands of underprivileged children or veterans in homeless shelters to make sure people have access to the technology. And it's best for us to take this and try and do as much good as we can, and try and push that forward to help out as much as we can.
And thank you for doing this. I absolutely love the passion and that you guys are really bridging this gap. So tell me, how long has ReGadget been around and how did it get started?
Yeah, we started back in 2017. So we're quickly approaching the 10-year mark, which is exciting and shocking that it's gone that fast. There was a niche in the market that, with laptops specifically, that we noticed could be, done. And we started. So it started, doing Chromebooks and Apple equipment and transitioned to laptops, growing as an e-commerce company that was selling on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and growing from there, from one person doing everything in a little tiny warehouse to 45 employees that we have now. And started small and just kind of organically grew into what we've become.
So what do you currently see as maybe a roadblock in order to really get you and catapult you to maybe your long-term goal? And I want to hear what that long-term goal is.
Yeah, so the long-term goal is, as I see it, is becoming a bigger ITAD company. So we've been at it for, really pushing that side of the business for about a year now. And it is gone really well. So we're up to 8 different states that we're picking up computers from businesses and schools, and that's grown rather quickly for us. And we're dealing with more and more schools and businesses, and to me, that's the start of the catalyst for us, because to be able to help and push some of our agendas forward on the digital divide side and some of the business to business side that we're growing, um, product is always the number one piece for us, because the more access to product we have, the more we can help in lower the cost for our partners, which in turn helps more children to be able to get machines. So it starts with there, and in getting more access to the product. um, our staff is amazing. We can push through a ton of volume. So that's the beginning, and then trying to help pushing forward with different organizations that we're partnering with. I always try to bring stuff back to Kentucky. Kentucky is home, and we need a bunch of help. So I'm trying my best to find different partners and talk them into coming to Kentucky and helping out. And it all starts on the incoming side, and then with that, we're also doing more B2B. There's a ton of people work from home ever since the COVID days, and businesses that could use help on that end with us doing deployments. So bringing their machines in when employees are no longer with the company, fixing them up and redeploying out to new employees that they have. So we're trying to round out the full business piece of it to keep the growth going that we've had, ever since we started.
So when you think about the business and success, what do you want the business to allow to happen? So, like, is it giving back? Is it just meeting a certain threshold as far as money? Like, talk a little bit more about what does success for the business look like?
So to me, success, it grows organically with what we're doing, and I would love for it to continue helping out on the digital divide side. I mean, that's the biggest piece of our company, and the piece that we want to keep pushing forward. Our current partners are amazing and do wonderful work, and we want to keep allowing that to happen. We're actually working with them to join different pieces in helping different demographics that's a part of them. And we've had meetings trying to push, their agenda and see how we can help in different aspects. For instance, jumping in with more of the veteran community, and doing things like that to not only get access to computers, but also job training and how to use the computers, things like that. The you know number side and sales piece, is obviously important for every business, because you can't do anything without sales and the incoming funds. But it's never quite been my target. I've never wanted to say, hey, we sell X amount of money, or sales in a year. I think that number always takes care of itself. If you're focused on doing things the right way and helping people, or some of the businesses that we're doing that aren't necessarily on the digital divide, which is growing for us, is because we see what they're doing and we understand the need for speed, quality product, things like that. And inherently, the sales increase with that as the partners see how good it is and rely on us more and more as a true partnership. The sales come. And so I've always looked at it as, if you're doing right by people and helping, that they're not only using us more and more, but their word of mouth spreads, and we get a lot of companies that reach out to us to do takeouts of their product or to sell into them, because they know someone that's dealt with us and speak very highly of us. And then all of that side takes care of itself. Which is always great in the what you want to do as a company. But it's never been the sole focus for us, and I think that's also helped us, growing in the right way, and not just trying to hit a number.
I completely agree. Because if you're serving the purpose, giving back, it comes back to you tenfold. And you're really embraced by our community. And they just really, our community here in the Cincinnati metropolitan area is just phenomenal. But when I think of 5 years from now, say you have arrived 5 years from today, what does the business look like now?
Um, that's an exciting piece. So because we're doing a lot of new stuff right now,
Mhm.
that is, um, 5 years down the road, I believe will look completely different. Um, I want to make us a one-stop shop for a lot of places, but also growing in the market of these routine customers coming back to us to send out their their IT equipment, and then we've got a turnkey production that we're essentially fulfilling these orders. When they hit the door, when the product hits our door, we know who it's going to, of certain customers, that everything runs a lot smoother from start to finish.
Mhm.
And in if we can get to that scenario, then the company runs a lot smoother for the production side, but we're able to push some of what we want faster. So hey, helping out on the incoming side makes life easier on the back end, and it helps our customers really get things quicker, and with that would be cheaper product too, um, because that partnership we have with them, and allows it to get more people to product.
Yeah. So, if you were to say, if there's one thing that's a challenge in making you achieve that, what would you say it is today?
Well, as of today, Microsoft has become a big challenge for us. So, they're getting rid of the Windows 10 devices, which happens to be some of the older devices. And that is a huge piece to the sustainability, not allowing those devices to be sold through Microsoft anymore, kind of makes those devices not functional for a lot of people. And while I disagree, because it's going to send a lot more machines to landfill and really hurt that side of things, we're trying to look at it differently. This is a huge issue to us in people wanting cheaper product, um, and we're trying to look at it as a positive. How can we take this and make these machines still function with different operating systems, or use them differently than what it currently is. But it's a big hurdle for us as a company right now, and we're trying to attack it and say this isn't going to be a hurdle for us. Let's use this as a way to springboard that and transition into some other product lines, that will help us keep pushing forward.
I love that you're addressing the external pressures and saying this is not going to get in our way. We are still going to do what we need to do. But what would maybe be an internal pressure, though, too?
We always put internal pressures on ourselves with the production side of things and trying to be better. So
Mm.
um, we've got a phenomenal staff. None of what we're doing could be done without the staff that we have. In the way that the group comes together, to reach a common goal and help each other out. People say that their teams like a family, and you know, ours truly get along as one. We're lucky we don't have high turnover. Once people are with us for 3 to 6 months, they tend to stay, because the staff kind of brings everyone in, and we get told all the time by new hires that they felt right at home very quickly, and that's because they pull people in. Um, but we put pressure on ourselves on, we want to produce more, we want to produce faster. How can things get easier on the floor? And we're constantly trying to find ways to make that better. And it's always an internal, we run very smoothly, but we put the pressure on ourselves to run even better, to grade these machines properly, because when you're using used equipment, one person might think it's great and the other person might complain. So trying to make it universal grading, which is impossible, but we're trying our best, continually to do that and to make things run smoother.
Yeah. So that 5-year plan, I know that you're across multiple states now, but what does that look like as far as the vastness as you guys continue to grow?
It's hard to tell. So we aren't stopping there. So we have weekly meetings about the growth piece of that. And even this morning we talked about 3 more states that we were targeting here in the next couple weeks to start that process there. So we are trying to be a nationwide recycling company. Because we do help and can ship from anywhere and be on site if needed. So we are pushing that out. We are now producing some of our own gaming computers. The gaming world is a growing thing, and it's so popular now, and we're trying to find a niche in there. So we've had some people working on these machines, and we've had some awesome meetings for it. So there's some national places that deal with esports that are very interested to partner with us because of what we can offer and how we look at things to um, try and help out. And 5 years from now, maybe we've got some of those partnerships and they're rolling and doing awesome things because it's a piece of the market. We're trying to use our refurbishing ability and sustainability piece to tie into that. So we're using some reused graphics cards and processors to keep the price down, with tied in with new cases and RGB lights, and they're cool looking machines. And 5 years from now, who knows where that's gone for us. But it's an exciting piece. But it's another one of those things that started with us this year that we're pushing hard to grow.
That's just so amazing. Because I can only imagine you guys taking North America like by storm and really helping us and bringing back some of that really great stuff into our Cincinnati metropolitan area. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope we take it by storm. We're starting slow though.
That's
To
good.
realize it, especially in the gaming realm, no one knows the name ReGadget, and it's going by ReGadget Gaming, and to get people to trust you've got to start slow and build it up. And with some of these partnerships that we're talking about and working through, these are um, places that have names out there that people do trust.
Mhm.
They would lend some good credibility to us, and really help. So you never know. I put lower expectations on it. I start smaller. Of okay, can we produce a good machine? Okay, and then let's get the sales going, rather than hey, we need to sell X amount. It's like with some of these partnerships. If you're building it right in a good machine that people, you know, once they get it, they use it, it works. They give you a good review. Then it starts to grow from there, and you can really hit the ground running with some of these different things we're working on.
Yeah. So, what is the key to success for you?
I think for us, it's all in our staff. We throw a lot of things at them, in some of this stuff, and they really buy into it. I do think we've got one of the best staffs that there is. And they buy into the mission. You know, um, Sometimes we'll get orders and say, "Hey, you need to ship 1,000 machines, here in the next 3 days," and they all come together and we'll get them out. And if they didn't buy into the mission of what we were doing, then there's no way it would work. And our staff is phenomenal. And without the staff we have, then there's no way that the growth that we've had would would keep pushing forward. We're pretty proud. We just made the Fast 55 list for Cincinnati private companies. So this is second year in a row, and it's exciting, and we celebrated it, and it's all a testament to them and what they can do. That's helped propel us, and they're really awesome.
I love that you're celebrating those wins. That is something that we don't tend to do often enough, especially because we're always thinking about, okay, well, what's next? Well, now we got this, or now there's this fire. So celebrating those wins and really giving back to our staff is really where it's at. I totally agree.
Yeah, we try our best to. It is very easy to have something good and think of, okay, that was great, and move on. So we try our best. We want to do it. We do luncheons and stuff. Is a way for that, but also to get the staff together, because
Mhm.
they're all friends, and a lot of them are hanging out outside of work and that. But I also think it's important, in the office, to have everyone connected and do different things, together. And the more you can, keep everyone around and interacting together, the better, because on the floor they're going to interact together. So making sure that they've got that comfort level with one another, uh, and we're pretty lucky that they do, and they have that closeness between everybody.
Yeah. So, what is your piece of advice that you would give to other business owners?
It's never easy. Growing a business is incredibly difficult, and um, you know, no one sees the challenges that you go through day by day.
Mhm.
They see some of these end results, and it's hard. And even while things are going good, there's different challenges that pop up here and there. So while owning a business is rewarding, and growing it is fun, day by day can have really hard times. In trying, you've got to try to see the big picture and enjoy the struggles and the challenges, and look at those as a challenge that you can overcome, to keep pushing forward, and really see the rewards from it.
Yeah. There was a brilliant business owner at Thanksgiving. And when we went around the room and we were talking about what are you grateful for, she said the hard times, because that's what makes us change. And it's what really pushes us forward. And that's where the growth is. And it just sang to my soul, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I'm a big sports fan, and they say the challenge is in the struggle, and you see the end results of guys make Steph Curry making all those threes and winning championships, but you don't see all the work he's put in the gym, and conditioning and different things. And that's true in a lot of ways for business owners. The hours that are put in that aren't noticed.
Yeah.
But the challenging times, if you look at it as something that you need to get through, and enjoy the struggle, then once you're through it's really good.
Yeah. When you got that coach that's making you put in those push ups in order to get the results.
Yeah, everyone sees the results. They don't necessarily care what it took to get the results,
Yes.
but you go through it, and that's what makes it even better, is knowing that you pushed through and did the extra work, and it come out the other side better. That's so important for someone in your personal growth, and to be mentally strong through it all, and also to have people to talk to. um, it's easy to feel lonely in certain situations like that. So, I talk to a lot of the younger people that are with us, or that I get to talk to, and I always tell them, have someone that's a mentor, to talk to, and ask questions. And if you get the right one, they've been through a lot of those things that you're dealing with. You're never alone. You're never the first one that's had whatever the issue is. And I tell them, it doesn't have to be a business person. It can be, a parent. It could be a friend. It could be anybody that you can talk to work through those things, so that you don't feel isolated, on some of those issues, And it's always good to have a fresh perspective on something. You might be stuck somewhere along the way, and someone else has a different perspective, and that helps you get through whatever that issue is.
That's why Action Coach's mission is to have a coach in every business, because everybody needs a coach or somebody or a mentor, or somebody that they're leaning on, whether it's an accountability partner or all of us thrive different ways. And so it's super important to figure out what is that that's going to work for you.
Yeah, and there's so many ways to get success. There's no one magical way. In having someone help you, especially a coach that could say, you see success, but trying different things could get you to the next level and in doing better, because every which way you look and you're successful or trying to be successful, there's always things you can tack on to make it even better. And you see the Amazons of the world are constantly changing and adding different things, and they're pretty successful for what they do, and they're constantly innovating and changing. In with if they're doing it, so can everyone else to keep trying to get better.
Yes, yes. So tell me, what is a book or podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
So I just finished reading a book that I've read a few times now. Um, so it's called Creating Magic by Lee Cockerell, and it's about Disney. So my family, we're Disney nuts. So my two girls are 8 and 5, and my wife, and we go to Disney a handful of times a year. And as long as I always say, as long as the kids are enjoying it and going, we're going to keep going. Uh, but truthfully, I like it the most of anybody. It's fun, and but down there is you actually, they say the Disney magic. Well, you actually feel it. They
Yes.
they are doing things that make you feel like you're in that Disney bubble and you're feeling this magic. And the book is talking about, well, it feels magical. Well, it's not actually magical. There's a lot that goes in to make it feel that way, and um, it's awesome to see what they're doing and how they do certain things. And it's not like telling a magic trick, but it's talking about you know their morals of, hey, we are investing into our people to be able to make decisions and help people. So if a guest comes up to talk to you, they have the ability, no matter who it is, to help that guest or to give them something. Or it could be as simple as they saw a kid with ice cream. Well, that's a big deal to the kid, and the cast member can go up and get them a new ice cream to make that day. And a lot that happens at Disney are these little moments that
Mhm.
someone went above and beyond, and you remember that moment, that sticks out. And it talks through customer service, but it touches on a lot of different pieces of business. And we try to push some of that into our company, including some of these interview methods and things that they ask employees. So we have, I have a meeting with all the employees trying to get to know them more, and I steal some of the questions from there that aren't a tell me about yourself and this and that, but they make the employee think. But it also allows you to get to know them more, and it makes them feel more connected. So I go back and read that book, usually once a year, trying to just stay top of mind with that. And so I just finished it again. But I do think reading is important for everybody, trying to stay, keeping your mind active and things like that. But that's one of the books. The Creating Magic is one that I highly recommend.
All right. So for our listeners, creating magic, right?
That's it.
All right. I love that we're creating magic each and every day. So it's funny that you just said this, though, because my next question really kind of goes hand in hand with that, because it is a fun question. But if you had a little bit of magic dust, should we make it pixie dust? And you could just choose one spot in your business to sprinkle it on, where would it be?
Oh, it would have to be the um, the ITAD stuff that we're growing, because that can affect so many pieces of our company and pushing different things and allow us to do stuff. So, you know, we want to keep pushing, helping on the digital divide. And the ITAD side gives us more access to product and typically better, lower cost of product. And we would take that and try and help push more and more to the digital divide side, especially with the lower cost. Um, because these things do cost money, and you have to raise some funds and stuff. And this time with everything happening in the country, there's that need, but some of the funding slowing down for it on the government grant side. So you've got to go back and look, and one of the ways to keep the volume going with it is lowering the cost of some of this product and tying that in the partners that we're dealing with and growing. We offer a pretty good sales pitch to them, because they think of a company or your company and you're getting rid of your computers. Well, you're mainly worried, hey, these are out of my warehouse, we're done with them, the hard drives are wiped, we know our data is not getting anywhere. But most people don't think of what is happening with these machines. They're out of your hair, you're happy. Well, I would venture to guess 80 to 90% of all the computers coming out of schools and businesses are actually ending up overseas, whether it's China, Dubai, Africa, South America. Um, these machines are going overseas. Well, we're taking them, and not only are you getting rid of them, and we're doing all the stuff that's happening, but we're trying to push them back into helping people in the U.S. So when the businesses we're talking with hear that, you know, it accomplishes what they need, but they also know that this is going to a bigger goal to push it forward. Um, and that's really resonated with them. And, knowing that it's helping, and we're pushing that forward with them.
It's such a beautiful process. And I really love that you're addressing the digital divide because it is real. And we need to make sure that we're giving everyone the opportunity to do what they need to do. So before we get to the final question of the day, please share with our audience how they can follow you, learn more, and of course, contact you.
Yeah, you can, email is kurt@regadget.com, KURT. You can go through the website, regadget.com. That's, you can contact us. You can fill out forms for us to do pickups with you, in different ways. So email or the website are the best ways to get us, and get in contact with us.
So I love that you addressed how can people maybe donate some of their stuff as well. But we met at a Northern Kentucky University event. And so if I'm a student and I want to be part of this magic creating team, what do I need to do? And what are you looking for?
Yeah, the students at Northern were awesome. They heard the story and what we were trying to do, and they went all in helping and really pushing some cool things, in some stuff that they probably aren't even aware of yet that could come. So we've had some awesome discussions, especially from the graduation ceremony. Some of the people there, yourself included, um, we're hearing the story, reaching out and saying we want to be a part of helping this move forward. And we've had some awesome discussions out of it. And some of these places are large corporations that aren't quite as easy to just say, hey, we want to move over to, but it's possible. But yeah, so students reaching out, there's many different ways that they can help. We are always looking to bring on talent. We spend time in the hiring process to make sure you're a hard worker and you fit in. If you can do those things, we can get you the rest of the way. Reaching out through the website and stuff to help. If there's family members that are in companies that might have extra computers, getting the name out. And we've done a lot of work this year, especially on the marketing side, making sure we get our name out there, people know who we are, what we're trying to accomplish, pushing some of these agendas forward, and continually moving forward. And it's working.
Awesome. I love that you continue to give back to our community as well. And we continue to grow and lift one another up each and every day. That's absolutely amazing. So tell me, what is most inspiring to you today?
Um, Trying to keep pushing for the future. Seeing what's next. From even 2 years ago to now, things have changed so much. In have gotten so good for us, and I think looking towards the future and being inspired to what we can be. Um, in pushing forward to get there is always the next step. Back to being happy with what you are and where you're at, but never settling to just stay there, trying to push forward, and keep growing and helping and doing different things, to round out the full life cycle piece of the business. It's inspiring because it's so exciting. The renewed and used computer world is growing, and more people are realizing I don't have to buy a new computer. And trying to position ourselves to be a part of that huge growth, in movement forward is just so exciting that it's fun to push you forward and keep pushing to see where you're going to end up.
Yes, I absolutely love that because we need to make sure that we're present in the moment and we're grateful for what we have, but get excited about the future because chances are you're going to look back when you've arrived 5 years from now and you're going to think, wow, look at all these amazing things that we've done, that we've created for our community and for our people. I would have even never dreamt that we could have been this great. And so it is so super powerful. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's amazing to look back 5 years and see how much we've grown. And luckily I can talk about that with our staff because a lot of them have been here for the 5 years, and to say, wow, remember 5 years ago when we were in this building and this was going on, and we were doing this, or and versus what it is now. Uh,
Yeah,
and we do talk about that. It's just looking like, oh, do you remember this? And in 5 years from now, it's exciting to see what potential can come, in trying to get there.
absolutely. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your stories. So thank you for sharing.
Uh,
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
it was fun. I sure appreciate you having me.
Good. Thank you. Also, I just encourage all of you watching, save the show, come back, watch it again, because of course, Kurt really did have some great insights for businesses, business owners, and those that are also enduring the journey today. So don't forget, like and subscribe to our channel because you want those notifications every time we have a new conversation drop, just like this one. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And a special thank you to Kurt Reynolds, CEO of ReGadget, for being with us today. We really appreciate it and we appreciate you.
Thanks. It was fun. I appreciate it.